Python is one of the most popular programming languages on the planet at the moment, and the reason it's so popular is because it's quite easy to learn how to use. And that's what we're going to look at in these series of lessons, and I'm just going to give you a quick introduction of how to do that in this video. So if you've not got Python on your computer, then you need to go and get Python. You can get that from this website, python.org. Go to downloads and get the version that's right for your computer, so you can stick it on Windows, Mac OS or other platforms. And if you're on Windows and you've got an older computer, so that's Windows 7 or earlier, you can go to the full list of downloads and get an earlier version of Python that will work on your computer. Try and make sure it is Python version 3 because there are different versions, and it's version 3 that we'll be learning how to use. So you can download that, install that, and then once it's installed you can open up Python. So you'll have a Python folder, mine's down here, and in your Python folder there are a number of options to choose from. Don't go for the one that says Python. Go for the one that says idle, I-D-L-E, and open that. So this is Python IDLE, and we call it idle. And idle is our development environment. It allows us to write our programs, run them, test them, and see how they work. But when we open it, the first thing we see is this. It's the shell. And this is where we see the output of our programs, but we can also directly type in individual lines of code just to see what happens. So for example, I could type in print and say, hello world, close my quotes, close my bracket, press enter, and the computer says, hello world. We could do other things. We can type in like some simple maths to do, like 6 plus 5, press enter, does the calculation, and outputs the value 11. The only problem with the shell is that it only does one command at a time, one line of code at a time. And what we want to learn how to do is to write programs. So programs are multiple lines of code that will complete a particular task or do something for us. So to do that, we need a space to write our code, and we create a new file. So we go to File, New File, and it opens up this blank text box, which is where I can start writing my code. Now I've got two big windows open at the moment, which is a little bit messy. So I'm going to grab my shell and I'm going to split my screen so I can see both the shell and where I'm going to type my program at the same time. So I'm just going to click, hold my mouse button down, push it to the side so it splits my screen, and select my blank document. So now I can write a little mini program and have multiple commands. So I can do something like print, enter your name, and let's put the name somewhere when they type it. So I'm going to need a variable. Let's call this first name equals what they type in. So I'm going to get their input. They're going to input their name on the keyboard. That would be a string, a load of text characters, ASCII text characters, and that will put it into the variable first name. And then let's print hello. Let's close my quotes, and I'm going to join this, or concatenate. I'm going to join it with whatever they type in that's stored in first name, close my bracket, and I've written a computer program. 3 lines of code. It will do a little task. So what we need to do now is actually run it and check it works. But before we do that, we need to save it. So I'm going to go to File, Save, and I need to find somewhere to save my work. So you can create a nice tidy folder in your documents to keep them all in. I'm going to just put mine on my desktop, and let's call it demo.py because this is a demonstration. Now it's got a .py to say that this is a Python file. So the .py extension just lets us know that this is a Python program. So you always need to put that, and I'm going to save that. So now it's got a name, we've got our code, and so I'm able to run my program. So I go to run, and I'm going to run the module. Now I could just press F5 as my keyboard shortcut, and it would run the program. So let's go. So what it does is the first line. It says print, enter your name, and there it says enter your name. Now it's flashing and waiting, and it's waiting for me to input my actual name. So today I'm Bob. So let's press enter or return on the keyboard. And now it says hello Bob, which is exactly what we told it to print, hello, and then whatever we typed in, which is stored in the variable first name. I typed in Bob, so it says hello Bob. So I've just explained how the program works, but what would be quite useful is if actually when we read the program we could see any additional notes that, or comments that could tell us how it works. Now the problem is anything we type in our file here, the computer looks at and says, is that a line of code? Can I get it to do something? So this program is just sort of a enter your name program. So say I just put the words enter your name here to say this is what the program is, like a title, and I try and run it now. I've got to save it, so click OK, and immediately says syntax error. And what that means is I've typed in some words it doesn't understand. It doesn't know what I mean by enter your name program. Now this is really just for me to read. It's not for the computer to read, so this is a comment. So to turn this into a comment that the computer will ignore, I add the hash symbol or number symbol. Some of you might call it hashtags, but there it is. Now this is all turned red to show that it's a comment and that the computer will ignore. So anything after the hash is ignored on that line. So there we are. I've put a name of the program. Computer ignores it and goes on. So if I click run module, saves it, OK, enter your name, Alice, hello Alice. So the program works. But I can add some extra little tidbits. I can say what this line does, for example. So I could put a hash for a comment and then say that it assigns what we type on the keyboard to the variable first name. Now it's quite a long comment, but it's done the job, and if I run the module, run the program, it still works. Let's call myself Claire. Hello Claire. Program works. It's all there. It ignores the comment, but that could be useful to tell us what particular lines of code do. I also use comments even before I start coding, when I list the things that I want my program to be able to do. So I might say I want it, if it was this program, to ask for the name. What do I want it to do there? Put the name in a variable and then output the name to the screen. So that's my plan of what the program will do, and then under each one of those I can then think, right, what code do I need to do that? And I can type print, not print, print, enter your name, like so. So I can use that as part of my planning, but then I also know exactly what that bit of code will do when I read it back myself. So that's how to make a very simple, very easy program, and we're going to go into more detail of how these work and how to write programs in Python over the next series of lessons.